tight end Rob Rubik. I'm Matt Shepard. Tom Lydon will shortly join us, and this is a time of year where everybody gets amped up, but it was also a time of year many people didn't think would come. It's here, and all is right with the football world.
I'll tell you what, Shep, thank goodness, because the perch fishing up north has been hideous throughout the summer.
Well, the Lions have not had a hideous training camp at all. They return every starter from their offense. That doesn't mean that there won't be competition, especially at the running back position. Two new guys added to the mix, Rob, Mike Bell and Jerome Harrison.
Yeah, and two similar backs type of careers that they've had, both 7-year players. Mike Bell, the bigger of the two, able to pound it between the tackles. Good receiving skills out of the backfield as well. Jerome Harrison, a little bit slighter in build, but he also, at 205 pounds, will take it inside, but really nice when he gets in the open field. Has a lot of shake and can make the big play.
Jim Schwartz likes them both. He says they're both proven, they're both hungry. Now, it is a situation worth monitoring throughout the preseason. Meanwhile, when you look at defensively, this team has some competition, again, in the backfield, but they've upgraded. There's no question.
They absolutely have. People were clamoring that the Lions needed to do something in the secondary to improve defensively. Well, they have. They bring in Eric Wright from Cleveland. He's started 55 games in his 5-year career, a very solid corner to go along with Chris Houston. What Eric Wright brings is that experience, which they really haven't had at the cornerback position. And let's not count out Aaron Berry. Now, we're not sure we're going to see him tonight or not, but he's had a really good training camp, had a good training camp last year. So, a second-year guy, he's going to create some depth.
Safety-wise, there's also a fun and exciting competition growing between Amari Spivey and the veteran Eric Coleman.
Yeah, Amari Spivey maybe has jumped out at training camp more than any other player in the secondary. He comes in really good shape. The learning curve is starting to straighten out for him a little bit, so he's been very productive. And then you sign Eric Coleman, 9-year guy, 5 years of starting in this league, a very solid safety, Matt. They should be much stronger in the secondary.
Whoever wins the job, they'll be helped out by a stronger linebacking core and a ferocious front four as well. They will try and put some pressure and confuse Bengals rookie quarterback Andy Dalton tonight, while Matthew Stafford looks to carry over his already impressive camp. It's the Lions and the Bengals next from Ford Field.
The 2011 Ford F-150, built Ford tough. Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, where quality meets value. Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit since 1849. And your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Think Ford first.
36th all-time preseason meeting between the Lions and the Bengals. Detroit actually is Cincinnati's longest tenured rival in the preseason. And they have won 18 of the previous 35 clashes. Glad to have you along on this Friday night. Mike Nugent, the former Ohio State Buckeye, the former Luke Groza Award winner in his 7th year out of Ohio State, will tee it up and kick it deep for the Bengals. Back deep, Stephon Logan, who wears number 11. And boy, what a weapon he was a year ago. Part of a return game that was 3rd best in the NFL. It's a short kick. And Logan from inside the 5. Good seam up the middle. Squirts past the 25. Close to the 35. And a good start for Detroit's offense. Tom Lydon on the sidelines. Partner?
Concerned if you're a Detroit Lion fan. Thank you very much, Matt. Hello, everybody. Obviously, the number one concern, if you are a Detroit Lion fan, is keeping number 9 upright. Tonight will be the first snap that Matthew Stafford has taken under center since he was injured on November 7th against the Jets. The team will go as far as Matt will take them. Keeping him healthy is the key, and Matt, it starts tonight.
Tom, and what a game he had against the Jets. 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. When he left that game with an injury, they were leading. Javid Best rolls close to the 40-yard line. And speaking of health, if you could have some health from number 44, it really changes your offense around. And of course, Calvin Johnson is an all-pro. 6'5", 236-pound number 1 target in his 5th year out of Georgia Tech. Tony Scheffler is the starting tight end because Brandon Pettigrew tweaked an ankle earlier this week. The offensive line averages 6'4", 311. Rob highlighted Corey Hilliard and Gosder Sherless as the tackle. Stafford slings it to Johnson for a first down and into Cincinnati territory. Again, that offensive line. Rob Sims, so steady a year ago. Dominic Raiola anchors it in the middle in his 11th year out of Nebraska.
Yeah, it was a huge signing, getting Rob Sims to come in here and solidify that left side of the offensive line with Jeff Backus and starting with Dominic Raiola at the center position.
Nose of the football at the 50. Stafford, the best. Nailed there right at the line of scrimmage. Cincinnati is a club that a year ago went 4-12. They play a 4-3 defense. And up front, Michael Johnson led the team in tackles for loss and quarterback pressures at the end. Ray Maualuga is in the middle. Last year, he was on the outside, so he replaces Dahani Jones in the middle. Nate Clemens, a free agent signing. Leon Hall, the former Wolverine, are at the corners. High snap. Stafford settles, throws, and a bullet caught by Burleson for a first down.
So this is a good job by isolating Nate Burleson out of the slot. He just runs a little bit of a delayed route and then goes straight to the sidelines, Matt, and is able to get separation, as any good receiver will do. It's not how fast you get into your cut, but it's how fast you come out of your cut. And that's what Nate Burleson does really well to create separation.
6 touchdowns a year ago, 55 rocks. But again, 3 different quarterbacks throwing him the football. 1st and 10. Best to the outside, stutter step, sneaks it inside. And a nice gainer on the ground. It's an area where Detroit's offense would like to improve. They averaged about 101 yards per game last year. Well, that was 23rd in the NFL. Get him healthy and look out.
And that's the key. He had the turf toes last year, and he lost the ability to get to the edge. And people say, well, he doesn't have the speed to get to the edge. What that does, it doesn't push the edge or stretch it, so it doesn't allow the cutback as well. But healthy job at best would be very productive.
Worked with his high school track coach, Chad Nightingale, in the offseason, and went back to track workouts more than football workouts. Stafford to Best, out of the backfield. Takes the guy head on and gets a first down.
Calvin really stretches the defense. He runs a deep curl and forces linebacker. Job at Best is a nice job getting the ball, but we're going to see good protection for Matthew Stafford. Kelvin Johnson runs a curl about 15 yards down inside. When that does, it forces Manny Lawson, the linebacker, to deepen his drop because he feels the threat of number 81. And that opens up the flat and getting the ball to Job at Best.
Remember, Best had 5 touchdowns in the first 2 games a year ago. Play action. Stafford for Johnson. Oh, what a grab for 6!
That's just not fair. I'm telling you, I watch his team. I've watched him for years, and my father, 83 years old, he always said, I throw 55 fades in a row in a game to 81. He's either going to catch it or get an interference call. Nice protection. Stephen Peterman pulling up from the right guard, seals the end, and that's just, I know where the ball is. And if you don't play the ball, and that time Leon Hall was playing the man, if you don't play the ball as a corner, especially against a big receiver, you're in trouble. Calvin knew where it was. Leon did it.
Jason Hansen on for the extra point. Injured a year ago and in competition with Dave Rayner. Nick Harris the holder, Don Muehlbach the low snap. It's handled with ease. And the Lions, on their very first possession of the preseason, march down the field, put 6 on the board, and look so impressive in doing so. It's Stafford to Johnson, and it's hope what we're calling a lot this year. Matthew Stafford engineers a 7-play, 67-yard drive in about 3.5 minutes. He's talking with offensive coordinator Scott Linehan. I would guess all Linehan can say right now is, hey, nice job.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You can't coach up perfection. That's basically what that drive was. And number 9, so a little bit of the skill set we know he has. We've watched him in training camp, and we saw signs of it last year in his limited time as a starter, but he has everything you need to be an outstanding NFL quarterback.
Well, it sure helps to have a wide receiver like Calvin Johnson, who is an absolute beast and is a difficult matchup every single time he's on the field. Hansen will kick it deep, and he's looked very good, by the way, in training camp. A deep kick. It is returned smack down at the 17-yard line. It's a fumble, and Detroit's got it.
I think it was number 50.
Ashley Palmer, Isaiah Ekajuba were in there.
Well, you're going to see a big-time hit as Ekajuba comes flying in from the right side along with Ashley Palmer. Ashley's getting up to celebrate the tackle. He doesn't realize initially that the ball is free. But that's some coverage. That's what you want to see with the kickoff being moved up 5 yards. You can hang the ball higher in the air, get it just a couple yards deep in the end zone. and they still want to return the ball out. And that time, that was pretty ill-advised by John Griffin returning that, because he got smoked by 3 Honolulu blue and silver coverage men.
Rashid Davis was also in there. So Detroit sends the #1 unit back out there, already up 7-0. Could be their final series of the night. Best stops and couldn't start again. Here are tonight's keys to the game. It's brought to you by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. What's most important tonight, partner?
Well, you're going to see here in a game like this, it's all about evaluation early on in the preseason. That starts at the running back position. With the injury to Mikel LaShore, you got a spot that's open, and it's very competitive. You got to stock the warehouse, Matt. What we mean by that is create depth. We talked about that in the open a little bit. And the last thing is you got to keep Dean Kleinschmidt, the doctor, off the field. You don't want any injuries. You want to get through this game and get a little bit better.
Jim Schwartz says the only time my blood pressure goes up is when Dean runs on the field. 2nd down and long. A firing shot that goes through the hands of Javid Best, and that can't happen during the regular season. Manny lost in the linebacker on the coverage.
And Matthew knew he put quite a bit on that ball. That's a little get open route by Javid Best coming out of the backfield. He's going to leak out into the right flat and just cut underneath the linebacker. And that ball was right there. It's one of the things, you know, as a young running back, the receiving part of the game can be much more difficult at the National Football League level than at the collegiate level, because everything happens quicker. The ball comes sharper and quicker, and Javid's still adjusting and still getting better all the time.
58 receptions a year ago. 3rd down and 11 for Stafford and the Lions after the turnover off the kickoff. Pressure comes, they set up the screen. Best has got a man out there. He gets to the 10 and is nailed just shy of the 5-yard line. He might have enough for the 1st down. The all-important marking.
All right, we're going to see how a screen will work, and we're going to watch Dominic Raiola. Let's pause this a little bit right here in the beginning. If you stop it, right there. Here's Raiola. Watch what Raiola's going to do. He's going to get out into the flat, and he's going to get the cut block on the one man right there who has an opportunity to make the play. Dominic got enough of them to allow the play to develop and get really close to a 1st down.
4th down and short, a perfect opportunity for Scott Linehan and the offense to implement their 4th down opportunities. 62.5% a year ago. A floater for Burleson. Got it! Is he in? No! Incomplete. Decent coverage by former Wolverine Leon Hall, the 1st rounder in 2007.
That's really good coverage by the Bengals on that one. And we're going to look at the bottom of the screen. Watch Burleson. Once again, locating the ball is the key. And he doesn't get the left foot down. The right one, he gets a little toe tap with it. But as you said, Leon Hall.
Now remember,
that's not a real good view right there. I don't think on the first view that we had that he got it down. Now, I think we can see Jim Schwartz throw out the red flag. He wants a touch. He wants his quarterback to be perfect 2 for 2 in the opening drives. I think he told the official, the fans want it, I'm going to take it. It's preseason.
Remember, every single scoring play is automatically reviewed. You would have to challenge something like that because it was not ruled a scoring play on the field of play. 7-0 Lions in front, 9:53. We go under the hood to see if it's 13-0 when we return next.
And welcome back to Ford Field. The Lions have opened up an early 7-0 lead, and right now Jim Schwartz is throwing the red flag and trying to get a touchdown on the last play, Matt. But you know, we've had a few looks at it over the commercial break, and I think this is a pretty good one here. Let's look when he has possession. Now the ball's in his hands there, but I don't think he has possession till right about there. And now on that view you can't really tell, but the left foot doesn't really get down. We had a couple good shots of it. We'll get another look here. I don't think, Matt, now maybe this is a really good look. Let's watch the ball before you even go to his feet. Don't even go to his feet till right about there. And he's already about 6 inches out of bounds by the time he makes full possession.
After the replay, it has been determined that the receiver did maintain possession of ball throughout the process of the catch and got both feet down. The ruling is a touchdown. Detroit will not be charged with a timeout.
Okay, that's the last time I go on a limb.
You're 0 for 1.
You know what? When I sit in my house, I don't do any better during Sunday either.
Jim Schwartz is laughing. Scott Linehan satisfied. 2 possessions, 2 scores, more importantly 2 touchdowns.
You know what? And it was, but once again, it was thrown to the back shoulder, Matt. We talked a little bit on break how they threw to Kelvin on that one. It's another one now. NFL does this a lot. A lot of teams you'll see. They run the fade route, and then they throw it to the outside where the receiver recognizes it. He turns, and right now he's able to create separation. I think the officials must have ruled he had possession right when it got into his hands, not when he pulled it to his body.
So Jason Hansen now for the extra point. It's all academic. for the leading scorer in Lions history. First time it went to Calvin Johnson. Second time it went to Nate Burleson. Batman and Robin, 14 zip line. For just $40 per game. Call 313-262-2011 or you can visit DetroitLions.com. Alongside Rob Rubik, Tom Lydon, Charlie Sanders, I'm Matt Shepard. Glad you're with us on this Friday night, the first preseason game of the year. We'll be in Cleveland a week from tonight. Then New England visits before closing things out in Buffalo. Jason Hansen will kick it deep. James Finley and John Griffin are back for Cincinnati. John Griffin fumbled the last time he had the opportunity. Took it about 4 yards deep. Hansen with a run-up and a good punch, sending him deep. And he'll take a knee wisely. Here's the Lions defense, brought to you by ABC Warehouse. Or the Cincinnati Bengals offense, we should say. Cedric Benson last year, for the first time in his career, started 16 games, rushed for over 1,000 yards, and had a team-high 8 touchdowns. A.J. Green, they've been raving about, though. Offensive coordinator Jay Gruden said he's everything you want from a number 4 overall pick, and then some. So keep an eye on number 18. Andy Dalton is the quarterback, the rookie out of TCU. He'll go deep, looking for Green, picked off at the 45-yard line, snared by Chris Houston.
If you have that, we can talk about how the Cincinnati guys won't locate it. You know, Shep, we talked on the 2 touchdowns for the Lions, how the quarterbacks of Cincinnati were not locating the football. Now, Andy Dalton drops back here. He throws a pretty good ball, but look at Chris Houston. He had it wired the entire way. He had inside position. He turned his head. He locates the football. He becomes a receiver, and that's what you want your corners to do. Don't look at the receiver. You got to locate the football. Great job by Chris Houston. The ball was underthrown a little bit, but this is the NFL for Andy Dalton. He's got to realize there's very small, very little room for error in the NFL.
Gunther Cunningham says Chris Houston, physical, mentally tough, doesn't mind being put on an island. First stringers are out for Detroit. That means Sean Hill is under center. He'll give to Jerome Harrison. Harrison gets to the 39-yard line. And this is one of the guys you highlighted, partner, the Kalamazoo Central native who played his high school ball with Greg Jennings, who just won a Super Bowl with the Packers, is looking for big things in this training camp.
Yeah, and this is really a great opportunity for Jerome Harrison coming here in competition with Mike Bell. He's getting the first crack at it. He's really got to do a good job, I think, in the passing game, not only as a receiver, as we see him flexing out here, but also picking up the blitz package. That's the toughest thing when you just come into camp.
Hill last year completed almost 62% of his passes he throws and is caught by Tony Scheffler. Sean Hill in his 10th year out of Maryland. Last year, 16 touchdowns, 12 picks. Signed as a free agent a year ago out of San Francisco, and he really did a nice job. And of course, he's used to this offense because he was with Scott Linehan in Minnesota back in 2002. Stares at a 3rd down and 6. Hard count, got the Bengals to jump. No flags, though. There they are. And that should be a first down for Detroit. I did say the number 1s are out of the lineup for the Lions, but the line remains in. The starters for the line remain in.
Right, the skill position people have been switched. We saw Will Heller early on at tight end.
Offside, defense, number 54. 5-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
Now Tony Scheffler into the game. Also some of the second wide receivers with Derek Williams in, Rasheed Davis. We see Jerome Harrison in the backfield, and Sean Hill steering this offense. Quarterback.
Hill 6'3", 220, owns all the weightlifting records for quarterbacks at Maryland. Here's a toss to Harrison. Couldn't find a seam. He's rolled over at the 45-yard line.
Well, that was read quickly by the defense, led by Nate Clemens, number 22, really coming hard off the corner when he saw the toss. Very aggressive play. You know, also in the end, Michael Johnson, number 93, you talked about last year, what a force he was in that defensive front for the Bengals, getting into the backfield, getting a lot of tackles for loss.
Johnson's a massive dude, 6'7", 267. Has room for more LBs on that frame. Nick Harris will punt it deep. Jordan Shipley watches it sail over his head and into the end zone. And Cincinnati's second crack on the offensive side of the ball will come at their own 20-yard line. Detroit's defense gets to dial it up when we come back. Defense back out there, looking forward to the showdown against Andy Dalton. Detroit's defense picked off the first pass thrown by the second-round choice out of TCU, and he has to be aware of that guy right there, an all-pro, a Pro Bowler, a first-round selection a year ago, and you can already hear Sue. I've seen more Sue jerseys than any other
Thunder and Lightning
than any other jersey in this building. Dalton with a give. This is Cedric Benson past the 25 to the 26, and he is wrapped up there by Justin Durant. Lions defense brought to you by ABC Warehouse. The front four solid. 44 sacks a year ago by this defense, folks. 39 accredited to the defensive line. The big acquisitions at the linebackers, Justin Durant, Stephen Tulloch, Chris Houston, and Eric Wright are the corners. You'll hear Amari Spivey and Louis Delmas as the safeties. Second down and 5. Benson dances his way close to a first down. Corralled for, or corralled by, I should say, by Cliff Averill from behind, who signed a new 3-year or a new 1-year deal worth about $3 million in the offseason and was thrilled with it. Looks like he's in good shape. 6'3", 260. Enough for a first down for the Bengals. Dalton under center. Benson the lone setback. On the ground. Benson found a hole past the 40 to the 46. Cincinnati gouging Detroit a little bit on the right side.
And they're running right at a Ndamukong Suh, Shep, and that's a little bit surprising, but you know, Bobby Williams, the right guard for the Bengals, was relishing the opportunity to go against the best. He said, if you can go against the best and you can beat the best, ultimately it proves that you are the best, and that's what he strives to be. You know, he hears all the hype about Ndamukong Suh, but he feels that if you go at him and make him play straight up, that you have a better opportunity. And so far, it's 2 running plays that have gone right off the right side.
Williams in his 12th year never missed a start due to a football injury. Up the gut and into Detroit territory. Should note he has missed 3 games in his career, but that was because he had an appendectomy. Big fella, 6'4", 345. He's the heaviest on this offensive line, which is saying a lot considering he plays right next to 71 Andre Smith. We were talking with Hall of Famer Anthony Munoz, who does the Cincinnati telecast part of the game. He says he's down, Smith is, to 335. Benson again, and again, positive yardage.
That was a nice job by Corey Williams coming from the backside defensive tackle spot. Did a nice job of flowing down the line of scrimmage and sliding off the block and making the play. You know, Corey Williams kind of gets lost in all the Nick Fairley being drafted and all the hype coming with that, and him and Sue inside. This is a beast when it comes to the running game. 99 is the run stopper. I know Ndamukong Suh gets a lot of the press, but 99 is an extremely solid player up front, and the two of them are very formidable.
Yeah, he told me he worked out with Kevin Williams and Stacey Andrews in the offseason. A lot of heavy lifting. Bad pass by Dalton goes incomplete, and we've got a little bit of a Donnybrook taking place on the Lions side of the field.
Andy Whitworth and I think it was Kyle Vandenbosch doing a little extracurricular when the play was done. Andy Dalton's got to complete that pass.
Yeah,
that time I think it was Chris Presley who was open in the flat, and he just threw it about 3 yards too high. And that's what happens when you're playing against a defensive front that you know is going to get after you. As a quarterback, you can't help but to have that in your mind a little bit, and everything, your whole clock in your head gets sped up a little.
Dalton's going to play the entire first quarter. Now, the Cincinnati punt unit was the best coverage unit in the NFL a year ago. Logan with a fair catch at the 14-yard line, and Detroit's offense already with a couple of TDs on the board looks for more. Andy Dalton a little frustrated. Can't wait. Welcome back. Sean Hill and the Lions up 14-zip on the Bengals. Channel 7 kicks into high gear at the Woodward Dream Cruise presented by Chevrolet. Watch the live 2-hour spectacular Saturday, August 20th at 7 o'clock on your official home for the Woodward Dream Cruise, Channel 7. Good looking crowd here at Ford Field for the preseason opener. Sean Hill and the Lions on their 4th possession on a 1st and 10, up 14-zip behind Matthew Stafford's 2 touchdown passes. Jerome Harrison cuts it up, gets past the 15 to around the 16-yard line or so, following Stephen Peterman and Gosder Sherless on the right side. Harrison, we talked about being from Kalamazoo Central. His folks were born in Detroit. They now live in Kalamazoo. And a massive Lions fan growing up, walking the halls in Allen Park at the practice facility. He said he was in awe while seeing some Barry Sanders paraphernalia. Great grab. The pass thrown behind him. He hauled it in and got back to the original line of scrimmage.
We get a look here. Jerome Harris, a nice tight shot of him. Just run a little flat route out of the backfield. This is really good presence and closing by the safety, Reggie Nelson. That time he recognizes it quick, actually probably matched up man in a man-to-man type of coverage, which allows him to cheat a little bit. So as soon as Harrison heads to the flat, he's flying up, and really nothing there. Good job defensively by the Bengals.
Nelson here in Cincinnati after a trade from Jacksonville. Hill on play action, pressure comes, he dumps it off for a tight end screen, and Will Heller is caught from behind. Good speed by Geno Atkins, the defensive lineman.
Well, the screen was set up fairly nicely by the Lions that time, and it was a little bit different. They ran the play action fake to the running back first, which held the defensive line, and then the line sees the play action. They're like, they kick it in a second gear, so that even now it starts to draw them in, and then you dump the screen. Will Heller, not quite the quicks. They catch the ball and get north and south on that play, and Lions forced to punt.
Nick Harris, number 5 in the league in net punt yardage a year ago. Jordan Shipley tells everybody to get away from it. It bounces, and the Lions grab it right around the Cincinnati 49-yard line. Good downfield coverage and hauled in by Maurice Stovall, trying to make this team as a backup wide receiver and special team guy.
Big body.
Yeah,
you look
sure
at
is.
You know, good size. Saw him in camp a little bit.
6'5", 220.
It's amazing. You know, someone said the difference between the NFL now than when I played, Shep. I think it is one of the areas you see is the size of the wide receivers. There were just not a lot of 6'4", 6'5" wideouts. If you were that big, they fed you and made you play tight end. That was
Harold Carmichael was one of those guys.
Right, but he was an exception to the rule, where the majority of them were still about 6 foot or under.
Dalton under center, his 3rd series. Pressure comes, and down he goes. Corey Williams wrapped him up. 2 sacks a year ago, 1 here in the preseason in game number 1.
99 with a good get off and a good job. He's able just to split the block of the interior line of the Bengals. That time he got between Nate Livings and Kyle Cook. And that's all about quickness on the snap, Matt. How quick can you get off on the ball? And it's very difficult for tackle people to say, how can they jump off sides? They see the ball, but they also hear the cadence. They're the ones that hear it the loudest. So sometimes they jump, but that time Corey Williams, great anticipation, nice sack.
Really nice swing move too. Dalton with a completion. Good effort after the catch by Jeremy Simpson, the 4th-year pro out of Coastal Carolina, 2nd-round choice in 2008. And a little jawing going on between him and Louis Delmas. Louis Delmas isn't afraid to talk with anybody. Simpson's numbers a year ago.
We get a good chance. Keep an eye on Cliff Averill. He's the left end, 92. He's been almost unblockable in camp. Now, granted, Jeff Backus hasn't been playing. Gosser Sherless is limited, but he just gets shot out of a cannon.
He's matched up with Andre Smith, their 1st-round choice a couple of years ago. There's a quick slant to A.J. Green. He's going the wrong way. Oh, what a block. Delmas gets up, and he's talking again with Jeremy Simpson.
Lions better be careful. Lions are going to get the flag now, yeah. There was a lot of smack talk. The officials are letting it go, but all of a sudden when hands go on a jersey, and I'm not sure, Kyle Vandenbosch was the first one to step in and get Lewis's back, and then somebody else down there grabbed the Bengals player and gave him a shove.
After the play, personal foul. Defense number 55, late hit. 15-yard penalty results. Automatic 1st down.
Stephen Tulloch.
He's going to be the 2nd one in, and Jerome Simpson's going to catch us on a little crossing route. Instead of going north, he starts going south, and Louis Delmas is going to come up. You see him closing, and he's going to get cleaned up. And then the extracurriculars take place after that, and Stephen Tulloch grabbed one of the Bengals and gave him a shove away. Officials, you have to intervene. If you don't,
was that an almost block in the back, though?
It was close.
He didn't get his
close.
helmet in front of Louis Delmas. I thought it might have been a block in the back.
The bottom line is you can't put your hands on another guy. When the play is dead, you're going to get called every time.
1st and 10 for the Bengals. Dalton, good play action. Pressure comes. Sue had him. And off goes the helmet. Oh, remember last year, partner?
And that should be flagged.
Remember?
Yeah.
It was against Jake Delhomme in Cleveland. He tried to rip his head off. And he got a flag then.
You know, and Dominican's got to watch here. It's not the 15-yard penalty he's going to get in this preseason game. It's the reputation that's going to go with him for the rest of this season. And officials will be looking for that, and all of a sudden, he won't even be doing anything that's very bad, and he's going to be getting some flags. Good pressure inside. Sammy Hill, number 91, getting the press, taking 2 or 3 people. Sue comes off. No, play is done.
The passes.
You cannot.
Defense number 90. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
You cannot pick up a quarterback when the ball's rolling and try to slam them. This is not the 1950s. It's, you know, they need to protect the quarterbacks, and, you know, they are the franchise in a way.
It really is a
I think it's a penalty,
thing.
man. I'm not, and you know, I'm a Lions fan as much as anyone, but you just got to be careful. He's setting a tone, Shep, but you got to do it smartly.
It's a difficult thing to corral, too. You want guys to play with that type of emotion, that aggression, but it also has to be controlled to a certain extent. 1st and 10 now from the Lions 14. Dalton, who is so prolific at TCU, threw for over 10,000 yards. Hands off to Cedric Benson. Found a little bit of a hole. They'll give him 2. Stephen Tulloch at the bottom of that pile.
You got to love it, though. You want a little spice in a preseason game?
Why not?
You know, people say, oh, it's preseason. It's tell those guys down there, they all want to win. They're competing. These are guys that compete for a living. You just can't go there and say, well, we'll all just kind of go through the motions. And right now, the emotions are running high.
Stephen Tulloch, 281 tackles the last couple of years. 160 last year. 2nd best in the league to Gerard Mayo. Dalton on a quick throw, finds his tight end, Jermaine Gresham. And he's wrapped up by Amari Spivey, who you already talked about in our Amari Spivey has really turned some heads in this training camp, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Number 1, he came in physically fit. He was overweight last year. He came in as a corner. He was moved inside to the safety position later in the year. And you're going to see right here what a nice job he does closing and then breaking down. That's a tight end he tackled in the open field, an athletic tight end. He was able to use his arms. I love seeing defensive backs bring their arms. Don't just be a projectile. But, yeah, getting back to his progress, Matt, he's made great strides this year. And Coach Schwartz expects big things from him.
Took every defensive play cut up home with him in the offseason, studied it vigorously, played basketball every day and ran 4 times a week. That's why he's in better shape. That's why he's in the starting lineup. Lions, very efficient in their first couple of drives. They lead the Bengals 14-zip with 3 quarters to play in the preseason opener. Ford Field, Jim Schwartz has to be pleased with his first-string offense. His first-string defense has been pretty good too, but a couple of penalties on this Cincinnati drive has the Bengals inside the red zone, led by Andy Dalton, the first number 14 starting quarterback since Kenny Anderson, who played in Cincinnati from 71 through 86, and who I think should be a Hall of Famer, by the way. But you know, when you talk to Marvin Lewis about Andy Dalton, he says, look, we feel he's mature enough, ready to handle it. He's a natural leader. His accuracy and anticipation was the best of any quarterback we worked out. He's got a big learning curve, but he's getting the opportunity right now against a very hungry defense. 3rd down and 5. He'll throw for the corner, and it is knocked away and incomplete. Intended for Jeremy Simpson, and good coverage for Detroit. Chris Houston.
What they're going to do is they're going to get this by formation right down here at the bottom. They're going to get man-to-man coverage away from the safety. They just throw up a jump ball, but once again, Chris Houston in good position. I love that he's showing, right, doesn't locate the ball. Now, on a fade like that, it's difficult on a short route to locate the football. But what he did, he watched the receiver's arms, he went for the strip, and he also pushed the receiver out of bounds, that time being Simpson.
Mike Nugent will attempt the field goal, 15 of 19 a year ago. And he gives the Bengals their first points of the preseason. Detroit in front, 14-3, with plenty of time left to go in the opening half. That's 14. Lions fans treated to a first-team offensive show so far tonight. Their club up 14-3 early in the second. Thomas Weber will kick it deep for Cincinnati. He's the backup kicker trying to find a home, the rookie out of Arizona State. And back deep for Detroit is number 86, Nate Hughes. Rasheed Davis just in front of him. Hughes will grab it at the goal line. Little wedge, broke a tackle and rolls to the 23. Tom Lydon.
Okay, Matt, thanks very much. I want to get you up to speed with the conversation I had with Sean Hill yesterday when we were talking about the fact that this game would really present a first opportunity for many of the offensive players to face game-like situations. When you're talking about just a 2-week training camp that they've enjoyed so far, they haven't really been able to install many of those packages. You saw earlier that they went for it on 4th and 1. That's something that Coach Schwartz wanted to work on. That's also something that Sean Hill and Drew Stanton were both looking forward to facing in this game-type situations.
Situation now a 1st and 10, and play action, fires to Scheffler, who's got room, gets the first down, and is popped at the 35-yard line.
You know, Tony kind of carries that like a loaf of bread out there a little bit, but he does secure it when the defenders come in the open field. Just he carries the ball in that one hand. I think obviously he feels he's quicker that way. This is just a little waggle play. You fake all the play action to the left, you leak the tight end into the right flat, you're throwing the ball, and you saw Scheffler's knees were down. But he's able to pick up the yards. You got to be a little bit careful, though, because in a regular season game, you'd hate to turn that ball over.
Scheffler 45 catches a year ago for 378 yards. Hill with a give to Jerome Harrison. Pick up of a couple. He's wrapped up by Dan Skuta. Skuta, number 51, in his 3rd year out of Grand Valley. Led the team in special team tackles a year ago and was a free agent in 09.
And a 4-position player. I was on the website reading a little bit. Marvin Lewis was talking about he plays Mike, Sam, rush defensive end and nickel, and fullback. And that's what makes you have a career in the NFL if you're that versatile.
And to be able to play special teams and be that successful, that helps too. Harrison wiggles his way past the 40. Now, Jerome Harrison's a guy who is a sure-handed fella. I mean, he's only fumbled 3 times in 342 career carries in the NFL. And everybody, I think most people anyway, who follow the NFL, remember his game in 2009 against the Chiefs, a win for the Browns at the time, where he rushed for 286 yards, a franchise single-game record.
It's better in my 7-year career.
13 minutes left to go in the opening half. 3rd and 3 for Sean Hill and the Lions. Hill showing his maneuverability and tosses. Will Heller with a one-handed grab. Well, what have you always taught our audience? When the quarterback runs where?
When the quarterback comes to you, you go away. If the quarterback goes away, you got to come back. And you're going to see Sean Hill trying to develop it down the middle. Now, as he scrambles to the right, what an experienced quarterback. He doesn't go past the line of scrimmage. Will Heller, same page. He drifts away as the quarterback comes to him. Nice one-handed grab. 89, known for his blocking skills, at 275 pounds, shows that he can catch a little bit too.
He is massive. 6'6", 275, fresh set of downs. Hill across the middle. Heller's got it again at the 25. That's Scheffler, 25-yard line. Good grab in traffic by the 6-year pro out of Western Michigan.
Yeah, and I like what Scott Linehan's doing on this drive. They came out the last drive and tried to run the ball, but they're opening up a little bit. Good protection. You see Dylan Gandy pull, seal inside. Tony Scheffler wide open across the middle field, well thrown ball. You got like as a tight end, Sean Hill really didn't run him into the other safety, bring him too far across. He let him settle a little bit in the middle of the field, and Tony appreciates it.
Scheffler, a very good hand-eye coordination, a 3-time letter winner in baseball at Western Michigan. Batted almost 300. It's not bad for a 2-time All-MAC selection. Harrison runs into a white-shirted roadblock led by Dan Skuta. I like to see the guys from the D2 schools. We'll see some guys for the Lions who played at the D2 level later on.
You're going to see a physical freak coming in the game later on. That's Demario Ballard, number 87, 6'6". What does he weigh? 220, 215, and he is just ripped and can run. He's a project. You know, it's kind of new to him yet. He didn't play that long in the NFL speed and stuff, but man, he's got all the physical tools you need.
He's got paws that crawl all the way up to your elbow. 2nd down and 9. Hill will throw. Heller's got it inside the 20, knocked down there by Tom Nelson and Dan Skuta. Nelson, an interesting story, third-year pro at Illinois State. He was a free agent in 2009, had to beat out some guys who had already established themselves, but it was the special teams aspect that really made the difference. Will Heller plays special teams for the Lions as well. It's that thing that gets you one of those final 10 spots.
You have to have something a little bit extra than everyone else. You have to have more to offer to make yourself more of an asset on the final roster.
Another 3rd down and 3 for Hill in an empty backfield. Good protection. They got it with Aaron Brown. He's dragged down from behind at the 9 by Skuta, but not before Aaron Brown scoots his way to move the chain.
And that's a great play call by Scott Linehan and executed very well by Sean Hill. This is a matchup. You're going to get the back on a linebacker into the flat. And that's just a bad matchup. I don't care if that's Ray Maualuga or Dan Skuta. Aaron Brown can run. And you get him one-on-one with a little 6-yard out. He's going to create separation, and Sean Hill delivered a well-thrown ball.
Well, he's in a fight, too, to make this squad. The 6th-round choice back in 2009. He'll take the carry, feel his way for some positive yards. Dan Skuta's putting some pretty good film on tape, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's made every tackle in this drive.
Well, there's Scott Linehan, who told us earlier in the week, look, we're not going to back off. Offensively, no way. We're going to go and run our offensive packages and see what happens.
And sometimes in a preseason game, it's more difficult to defend because you don't go by the book as much. You can kind of throw when you want, run when you want. There's no pressure, so your play calling can be pretty diverse.
2nd down and 7. Hill, plenty of time, slings it out and incomplete, intended for Aaron Brown.
Former Michigan Wolverine Morgan Trent on the coverage there. Really nowhere to put the ball for Sean Hill. Did the wise thing, just threw it out of bounds. Sets up a 3rd down and goal.
Trent played his high school ball at Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
The Eaglets.
Yep. 6th-round pick back in 2009. Will be matched up with Maurice Stovall. Stovall 6'5", 220. Another one of those big wide receivers for the Lions who's in camp trying to win a job. 3rd down and 7. Hill, pressure comes. He's got a lane. Does he have the speed? Yes, he does! And the toughness, by the way.
Tell you what, Old Man River runs smooth. You look at Sean Hill, but he decided to go. He went, and you can't hesitate. He gives a play time. There's nothing there. A little bit of pressure inside. He sees a lot of green, and he has the green light, and he goes for it. And a little leap into the end zone. Man, I'll tell you what, your team really appreciates the effort in a preseason game by a 10-year veteran like Sean Hill. And that's why when he came in last year, you know, when he had to come in for Matthew Stafford, the team responded well to him. It's plays like that that create that aura that a quarterback needs.
It's that team mentality, working hard, caring, and making sure. Look at the hug from Scott Linehan. They know what he's all about. He's a true pro, and the Lions look really good early on. It meant a little something extra. First game that the 10-year veteran has played since his father passed away. Thus, the celebration, the look toward the sky, and recognition of the man who meant most to him, Sean Hill. Dear heart, dear place in his heart for his father. How good was he on that drive? How about 8 for 9, 63 yards, and the running score. Now you notice the kickoff team just 5 yards deep. That is a new rule, only a 5-yard run up, and you'll kick it off from the 35. They'll bring it out. Racked up right away at the 10-yard line. Nice solid defensive play by Eric Coleman. Can play either safety spot and on special teams. Here's tonight's game summary. It's brought to you by the Ford Motor Company. 21-3, Lions in front. How did it happen? Well, Matthew Stafford very efficient. 6 for 7, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 to Calvin Johnson, 1 to Nate Burleson. Sean Hill on the last drive, 8 for 9 and a rushing touchdown. Lions have a sack, courtesy of Corey Williams. Special teams is forced to fumble. It's been a decent night so far. Andy Dalton remains in at quarterback for the Bengals. A quick curl route to A.J. Green. Well, don't miss the Detroit Lions kickoff luncheon August 31st at Ford Field with head coach Jim Schwartz and your 2011 Lions. For tickets, call Ticketmaster 1-800-745-3000. You can order online at Ticketmaster.com, or you can go to the Ford Field box office. A pickup of 5 from Dalton to Green. Green, the first-round choice, number 4 overall out of Georgia. As a rookie, played with Matthew Stafford for the Bulldogs. On the ground, a new running back, and that's Brian Leonard. He came over from St. Louis in a trade. Bobby Carpenter in on the tackle. He wears 59 in blue. There's a look at Leonard in his 5th year out of Rutgers. Tough, hard-nosed kid who also contributes on special teams. Carpenter recently re-upped with Detroit because he was a free agent. First-round pick back in 2006 for the Cowboys. He played well last year. 30 tackles for Detroit in 10 games played. 3rd down and 5 for Dalton and the Bengals. He'll throw for it. And it's caught, and it's enough for a first down. And who else? It's A.J. Green. That's going to be a combination we're going to be looking forward to in the NFL for a long, long time. Caught it in front of Nathan Vasher.
And not bad coverage by Nate Vasher on that one, closing. Good protection inside. It's just a short pitch and catch. And Green's a big body receiver, you know, and that's such an advantage for a quarterback when you get a guy with his type of size on that perimeter at 6'4", 210 pounds almost. It just creates a shield between himself and the defender.
Marvin Lewis says he's the complete package. Athletic, agile, fast, great work ethic, very knowledgeable too. And the beauty of it too, Rob, is that A.J. Green says, I know I have to earn it. I plan to have a great rookie year. Now, look at his size. He's 6'4", 207, right? We were talking with Anthony Munoz and members of the Bengals before, and they were talking about what a freak he is. You and I looked at each other and then looked at them and said, excuse me, you want a freak?
81 in blue.
How about 6'5", 236 that is ripped?
That's a lean. Looks like you, Shep.
I wish. 2nd down and 7. Bunch package to the right. He looks left, and it's a nice grab for a first down by Jeremy Simpson.
Ooh, they're going to flag too. I think Eric Coleman's going to get hit with a little helmet to helmet as Simpson is very slow getting up. Yeah, he's. Boy, look at him getting up though. Gets a second win. I admire that because Eric Coleman really came up. It was a slant route to Simpson on the outside. We'll get a look here. And a nice throw by Andy Dalton. The officials will let us know.
Unnecessary roughness. Defense number 24. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
He gets inside position. 24 coming in. You know, he actually missed him a little bit more than I thought. I thought it was a helmet to helmet. It's just basic his forearm and shoulder pad. But I think it all comes down to, there's also a rule change here. Is it necessary? Can the receiver defend himself, make a play with the ball to protect himself? And I think officials ruled that time that he couldn't. But once again, I like the aggressiveness of the Lions in that situation. Eric Coleman coming up to finish the play.
It's the 3rd personal foul against the Lions in this ball game as Green slithers his way for another first down. Caught it in front of Brandon McDonald. Coleman, by the way, 9th year out of Washington State, a Jets 5th-round draft pick, and a guy who in his career has played 48 games. 45 times he's been a starter. So he's had some injury problems, but when he's healthy,
he can play.
Yeah.
And that's what the Lions need, and they may not call on him to start from day one here with Spivey really stepping up. But all of a sudden, if you have someone go down in that secondary, you're not so decimated.
1st and 10, Leonard. Tripped up at about the 35-yard line. Mari Spivey came up from the safety position to make the tackle.
This is the Lions team right now. And what we've seen here tonight is a lot what we expected. It's a team that the people of Detroit and the Lion fans are getting really, really excited about. I think there's a lot of good reason right now. You look at this defensive front 7 with the addition in the secondary to kind of solidify that, and now offensively with the weapons that you have and a healthy Matthew Stafford, there's a lot of optimism, and I share it with most of the Lion fans out there right now.
2nd down and 6. Dalton wants to throw, sets up a screen. It's a tight end screen. Bo Scape makes the grab, but is hauled down at the 35-yard line. Good play by Bobby Carpenter and Amari Spivey.
Calling Spivey's name a lot from that safety position. He stood on camp for a reason, and this is it. Good recognition. He's able to slide off the block a little bit and just get enough to allow Bobby Carpenter to come up and finish the play and not allow Bo Scaife to get away.
I asked Amari Spivey a couple weeks ago, what did you think when you were moved to safety? He said, I thought, what the heck's going on here? I've never played safety before. But the coaches knew what they were doing. 3rd down and 6. Pressure comes, Dalton delivers, Shipley with a grab and a 1st down. Jordan Shipley, used to that, the 3rd round pick a year ago out of Texas. 52 catches, most by a Cincinnati rookie since Eddie Brown in 1985.
And they're just, Lions are just dropping back, playing a zone. That time releasing, the defender comes up, Shep, and that's Prince Miller, and he's going to release him to the outside, but Shipley's able to get underneath the pressure and get into the soft part of the zone. And well thrown by Andy Dalton, as you said, is a very accurate passer.
Yeah. 1st and 10. Dalton deep drop, throws across the middle, and it's knocked away. A nice play by Brandon McDonald, the 5th-year pro out of Memphis.
You want to make a football team, you got to make football plays, and Brandon McDonald does this here. It's a post route going to the wide side of the field, and he sees the ball, he makes a play on the ball. And that is the biggest difference you see, not only in the collegiate level, but in the NFL level, between the really good corners and the also-rans. The ability to locate and get after it a little bit. Become the offensive player as a defender. Go get the football.
McDonald, cousin of Correll Buckhalter and Steve McNair. 2nd down and 10. A screen for Leonard. Flag on the play. Oh, he's drilled as he hurdled his way close to a 1st down. He was popped by Amari Spivey and then wrestled out of bounds by DeAndre Levy and Bobby Carpenter.
I think it's going to come back.
Which usually indicates holding.
Yeah, and which is kind of weird because it's a screenplay. And as an offensive lineman.
Offense, number 62, 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
And as an offensive lineman, Shep, you want them to get into the backfield and not allow the pressure. But if they beat you too clean and you think they're getting there too quickly, obviously you're going to try to slow things down. So that's a little bit of a break for the Lions. Lions blitzing on in the inside there. So the Bengals had the right call, but they just couldn't finish the execution part with the holding penalty.
About 3.5 left to go in the half. 2nd down and 20. Pressure comes. Dalton underneath. It's caught. Oh, good open field tackle. That's Brandon McDonald again. That's not easy. That's a highlight reel tackle right there.
Well, yeah, Jay Finley's going to get the ball in the flat, and any open field tackle is a difficult one. He's able to make the first man miss. You see Brandon McDonald coming up, taking the pins out, trying to bring his arms. He's trying to make the tackle, but Finley was going to go over the top of him. It didn't work. Setting up another possible screen draw situation. You wonder how greedy the Bengals are going to be. It's preseason, so I guess the risk-reward factor doesn't come into play quite as much.
3rd down and 19. Unleash the pressure. Dalton across the middle. Well shy of the 1st down. Carpenter, good coverage along with DeAndre Levy. Levy, by the way, has moved to the middle. He can play any of the 3 linebacker positions, but as he told us earlier in the week, Detroit doesn't play strong side and weak side. They play right-left in their defensive scheme. And with Tulloch sometimes in the middle, Levy can switch either side.
Right, you have to be versatile. You have to know all the positions to be able to switch, and it makes defensive play calling much easier for Gunther Cunningham.
42-yard field goal attempt by Thomas Weber. It's out of the hold of punter Kevin Huber. Clark Harris is the long snapper. 2-minute warning.
The game clock had reached 2 minutes prior to the snap. This will be the 2-minute warning.
So with the Lions up 21-3, Jim Schwartz pleased in a number of different areas. Well, we invite you to stick around for our Wallside Windows halftime report. Tom Lydon talks with head coach Jim Schwartz. We'll have highlights and stats from the opening half. And Hall of Famer Charlie Sanders joins Tom with his perspective as well. Mike Nugent, who's already made one from 27 yards away, is lining up one from 42 yards away now. Bengals club won the division a couple of years ago, sweeping their division foes. So Marvin Lewis told us he's not into words like rebuilding. You have to rebuild quickly at halftime to get back in this one. Missed it. 1:55 remaining. Detroit with an opportunity to implement their 2-minute drill when we return. Here's tonight's big picture play of the half, brought to you by Gardner White. Matthew Stafford, a slingshot to Calvin Johnson from 26 yards out on the opening drive, capping off a 7-play, 67-yard drive. Is he supposed to throw it there, partner?
Yeah, you want to throw the outside shoulder, so really only the receiver has an opportunity to catch it, but there's just not a lot of room for error in that throw. Although Calvin Johnson, they say the quarterbacks, they give you a porthole to throw through, he gives you a little bit more of a pitcher window. Well, with his reach and his length, there's a little bit more room for a quarterback to put the ball.
It really shows how much they've worked together in the offseason. Stafford and Johnson who got together even during the lockout to work on their communication. Not that it was ever bad. Drew Stanton into the game. Stanton in his 5th year out of Michigan State. Last year threw for almost 800 yards, completed 58% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, and I think, quite honestly, proved a lot to a lot of people.
Well, you know, it got him a contract extension here. They re-upped him, and what Drew did, which was so impressive to me, this is a guy that even though he'd been in the league a few years, did not get reps in practice. When you're a third-string quarterback, you don't get the reps when the season starts because the practice time is limited. So obviously you're going to give it to your starter or a little bit to the backup. But man, he came in and was able to perform and keep the kids the players in the game throughout the course and make some plays when need be, and that's what you want.
Well, he showed he could play at this level.
Absolutely, he showed that he could throw the ball at this level, and once he settled into the game, he managed the game very well.
Number 2 all-time in MSU passing in terms of yards. He'll throw here, looking for yards and finding it on an out pattern hauled in by Maurice Stovall. Stovall, a free agent, but a flag on the play.
Going to negate a nice throw.
Personal foul, face mask, offense number 64, 15-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
That's not good for Dan Gerberry, the 2nd-year pro out of Ball State.
We're going to look. Dan's at the center. He snaps the ball. He's getting a little bit of pressure inside. He grabs the face mask a little bit late. I mean, did you get a good? I really. But you just can't do that. Whatever it is, I mean, you can't get your hands, an offensive lineman, on the mask of the defender. You're going to get caught each and every time. And it ends up being almost a 30-yard penalty with the loss of the play.
Good time to set up the screen to Aaron Brown. Past the 30. Close to the original line of scrimmage with a $1.50 to go in the half. Manny Lawson made the tackle.
Everyone brings something to the table, and what Aaron Brown brings is that speed. You know, some running backs are bangers, some are cutters, some are shakers. He is a guy with really good line speed, straight ahead. He can really get going, and you saw on the screen when he gets it and starts going north and south, he covers a lot of those yard markers quickly.
Talked about Lawson. He was a teammate of Stephen Tulloch's at North Carolina State, both in their 6th year. Stanton will throw. Pressure comes from behind. He gets it off to Brown. Nice shake past the 40 to the 47.
You can just see the difference in number 5, Drew Stanton, this year compared to the other previous preseason. There are going to be some pressure.
Detroit.
And he stays right in the pocket to the last minute to allow Aaron Brown to complete his route on the cross, get past the linebackers. But he stands tall. It's going to come from the left side, or right side of your screen, rather. 93, Michael Johnson, still in the game, which is a little bit surprising to me, but obviously Marvin Lewis not very happy with what he's seen with his team so far in this half.
Well, get Lions ready with 2011 Detroit Lions season tickets. See the Bears on Monday night, the Packers on Thanksgiving. $40 per game. 313-262-2011 or DetroitLions.com. Under a minute to go in the opening half. Stanton will throw, and on a comeback, it's dropped. Derek Williams let it bounce off his shoulder pads instead of grabbing it with his hands. And you know what? We haven't seen that very often in the preseason, at least during training camp. He's had a good camp until today.
Yeah, but you've got to get your hands as a receiver. This is a well-thrown ball again by Stanton. You got to get him out in front of you like a shock absorber, so when you catch the ball in your hands and you get hit in the back by the defender, you can absorb the pressure. That time you let the ball get into his chest, so even if he doesn't bounce off his chest when the defender hits him, it's a good chance it will.
2nd and 10 and a three wide receiver set. Stanton throws again, and another drop by Williams. Oh boy, oh boy.
Been there. It's just like a baseball player. They say in the slump, you don't see the ball. He's fighting it. He knows he's under the spotlight.
Yeah.
Coming this year, he may not admit it, but it is a make or break year for him. So he's walking that fence, and it's a tedious fence in training camp, and the ball got into him again. It looked like he wasn't quite ready coming out of his cut. Good separation, but man, that's two in a row that Drew's hit him right in the hands.
Well, keep in mind, the pressure a lot has to do with Titus Young. Titus Young was drafted by Detroit, and now suddenly it's a numbers game. And you know Titus Young's going to make this squad. Stanton steps up. He'll throw, looking for Williams, and he caught that one at the 21-yard line.
Bradford D-Will that time. And that's what you like to see. You know, you keep in there, keep on fighting, Shep. That 2 drops in a row. Stanton comes back to him again.
Timeout. Detroit, a 30-second timeout.
Well, underthrown a little bit, but it allowed Derek Williams to come back and make the catch. You know, in front of Fred Bennett that time, and that's what you like as a receiver. Give the opportunity to come back and make a play.
You know what I like most? When he dropped his 2nd consecutive pass, Drew Stanton screamed at him, hang in there. Trying to give him some confidence. Like, you know what? You'll get another shot. Make good on the next chance. And right away, he goes to him again. I give him a lot of credit. Stovall and Rasheed Davis are split wide to the right. Williams is on the short side of the field. 38 seconds to go in the half. Stanton looks right for Stovall in the corner. 2nd and 10.
Well, Morgan Trent did a nice job of forcing Maurice Stovall wider than he would like to be, and by getting pushed to the sidelines a little bit, it gives your quarterback less room to drop the ball in there. Morgan Trent on the coverage, a little hand fighting going on, and Stanton's got to do a little bit better job of dropping to give your receiver an opportunity also to make the play.
I asked Stovall why Detroit. He says he thinks this team gives him the best chance to contribute both on offense and special teams. Stanton looks left. He'll throw, and it's caught by Williams inside the 5, and he got out of bounds.
I think it's going to come back and get another holding call.
Well, Drew Stanton threw that before Derek Williams made his cut.
Offense, number 21, 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
We talk about all the battles. We talk about Jerome Harrison and Mike Bell coming in. Aaron Brown stepping up, pretty good job, but you just got bulldozered a little bit. Just not quite big enough. You got to keep your base. In worst case scenario, when you're back stepping up, if you feel yourself getting rolled backwards, you just got to go down and cut him. Because if you pull the linebacker down on top, you're going to get called every time.
5th penalty against the Lions on this Friday night.
Well, how about the job Stanton throwing the ball in this drive? I mean, he's had a couple drops, a couple penalties, but he's still been right on target.
Looks like he's going to the right guy, too. We wouldn't know that until the coaches confirmed it by looking at film. Screen. And Brown got nowhere. Brandon Johnson sniffed it out right away.
Third and final charge timeout. Detroit. A 30-second timeout.
You know, Brandon Johnson looked like he was in the playbook a little bit. Well, I think it was they were in a man coverage, and he has the running back, that being Aaron Brown, in man-to-man coverage. So when Aaron Brown starts to leak, he's leaking with them, and the lineman couldn't get out and get a piece of him. So a nice job by Brandon Johnson making the play for the Bengals.
Johnson in his 6th year out of Louisville. Last 3 years with Cincinnati, pretty productive. Over 100 tackles per season. Third down and 23 for Stanton and the Lions. Brown the lone setback. Pump fake, pressure comes, throws, Brown's got it. Good speed as he sneaks inside the 20. They'll have to quickly hustle out the field goal unit. Can't spike it because it's fourth down. They got it away, and it's good.
Unbelievable. You know what, Shep? That is difficult to do 6-7 weeks into the season. To see a unit do that in the preseason with that type of execution and fluidity is very, very impressive.
Well, a pretty impressive first half, don't you think?
Very good.
Considering.
I mean, they got him out. You know, they were running out there, people running off. Everyone gets set. And how about Hansen?
Yeah.
When you're 40, not much can shake you.
And Danny Crossman's unit got it done. Let's go down to Tom Lydon on the Lions sideline with our halftime interview with head coach Jim Schwartz, brought to you by the DMC.
Okay, thanks very much, Matt. As Nick Harris just walked off, Coach Schwartz said that's the best he's ever seen him hold. You can't ask for a better first half. Nothing like getting 14 points on the board before your defense takes the field.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, you know, sloppy with some penalties in there. We got to do a better job of getting off the field, not keeping drives alive with penalties, but executing that. We actually took the timeout to set ourselves up for that situation. It doesn't come up very often, but I've never seen somebody execute that in 13 seconds. That was fantastic by our snapper, holder, and kicker.
How about Stafford and Hill, and Stanton all really moving the offense down the field?
Yeah, you know, Drew got victimized by a couple drops. He was you know, very good and kept drives alive. You know, Matt was very sharp, and, you know, Sean, as usual, goes in and makes plays.
Coach, thanks very much for the time. Good luck in the second half. That is head coach Jim Schwartz. The Lions lead the Bengals 24-3. Preseason game number 1 from Ford Field. Please stay tuned. The Wallside Windows halftime report is following right here on Channel 7 WXYZ, your home of the Lions. Welcome back to Ford Field. Tom Lydon with you, joined live by Matthew Stafford, who must be feeling great. Been since November 7th since you took a snap under center here at Ford Field to put 14 points on the board before your defense takes the field. That's how you draw it up in the classroom, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's how we wanted it to go. You know, we went out there, we played fast, executed, threw and caught the ball well, ran the ball pretty well, so we're happy with it.
As a quarterback, how important is it for you to try to get as many different guys involved? Because you know you're going to be out there for a limited amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's one of the great things about our offense. We spread the ball around, you know, do a great job of getting it to our playmakers and let them do the rest.
Did you think Nate was in?
I didn't know. I had no idea. I had a terrible look at it, but on the Jumbotron you could tell. I'm glad they challenged it. It was good.
You guys had a good time with Sean, huh?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Very graceful flip.
All right, that's Matthew Stafford. We thank you for the time. Glad you got through healthy. We'll see you game 2 in Cleveland. Let's send it back up to the booth. Matt Shepard, take it away.
All right, Tom, good get. Thank you very much. This team is so different when number 9 is at the helm. That's with all due respect to other guys who have taken snaps last year as well and led them to a 4-game winning streak at the end of the season. But when number 9 is at the trigger, this offense really gels well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think all 3 quarterbacks the Lions have, you know, Zach Robinson, the 4th quarterback,
yep.
Jury's still out a little bit, he's a young kid. But the other 3 have proven that they can run a team. They can manage a game in the NFL. But Matt Stafford, it just has it. You know, they always talk about it, like intangible. I don't know how to explain. You go to practice, there's 2 people that when we stand in that. Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, they jump out at you.
There's no question about it. And you said that as soon as you saw him. And I like your perspective because you played the game. You played the game at the highest level. You caught passes from different guys. You've watched a lot of film. When it leaves his hand, you kind of look at me and you go, wow. I mean, it takes a lot for a pro to do that.
He has, you know, you talk about the great quarterbacks. They all had one thing that they did exceptionally well. He maybe doesn't have the quick release like a Dan Marino, but he has a quick release. He maybe doesn't have the accuracy of a Joe Montana, but he's very accurate. He may not have the arm strength of a John Elway, but boy, it comes out pretty hot. And he can throw the deep ball with finesse. So he's got, you know, he may not be at the level of all of them, but he's at his own level. And you put it together, if he can stay healthy, he's going to have a nice career.
Cincinnati gets their first offensive opportunity here in the 3rd quarter. At the helm is Bruce Gradkowski. Now, this is a guy who signed as an unrestricted free agent, played in Oakland, has 20 career games started under his belt in his 6th year out of Toledo. You and I saw him at the Mid-American Conference level. He wins games, and he's a tough hombre, isn't he?
He is, and this is Andy Dalton's job, I would say, to lose almost.
Yes.
They're going to give him a lot of rope, a lot of leeway with this team. But eventually, I think it's going to be Bruce Gradkowski's team sometime during the course of the year, and especially if the Bengals don't have any success.
Gradkowski will roll. He'll throw as he does, and he'll throw it incomplete. Looking for morning weather and traffic? You'll find the most accurate weather and traffic on Channel 7. Always together, always more often. The most accurate weather and traffic and the latest news is on Channel 7 Action News this morning. 3rd down and long for the Bengals, who have put together one decent drive, but it was aided by 2 personal foul penalties by the Lions defense. Gradkowski will throw. Collapsing pocket across the middle and incomplete. Intended for Chase Kaufman, the 3rd-year pro out of Missouri, the tight end and the son of Paul Kaufman, the former tight end of the Green Bay Packers.
I had a chance to play against his father. He was a little bit prior to me, but I want to say I patterned myself a little bit. He wasn't the biggest, strongest, or best blocker. Great route runner, tremendous hands, and a consummate competitor. He really got at it, and he really left it on the field each and every down.
Kevin Huber will punt it away. Good punt, too. Fielded at the 20-yard line. Good downfield tackle made as Nate Hughes tried to make something happen, and now the Lions offense will try and make something happen. Drew Stanton will be ready. Single game tickets for Detroit Lions regular season home games go on sale beginning Wednesday, August 24th at 10 a.m. Call 1-800-745-3000 or visit DetroitLions.com. Lions offensive possession, the first of their 3rd quarter. Donald Thomas, the right guard, he's trying to win a spot in his 4th year out of UConn. He was a 6th-round pick of Miami. He wasn't even going to play football at UConn, but he was in a pickup basketball game, and Danny Lansanan convinced him to try out, made the squad, and now he's in the pros in his 4th year. This is Mike Bell. He gets the call from Drew Stanton. Brandon Johnson makes the tackle. We'll talk about Mike Bell throughout this second half as he welcomes the opportunity to try and prove he's worthy of a 53-man roster spot.
This is where the play calling goes less to moving the football, more to evaluating personnel. This isn't tight now where coaches are going to call certain plays for certain players.
The give to Bell. Fumble. He picked it back up. That's a rarity. Mike Bell only fumbled 3 times in 395 carries in his career.
We'll get a look here. He does get the handoff cleanly, but it looks like on a cut, he might have got hit by somebody already down blocking, Matt. And it wasn't someone who actually came in and reached and stripped it out. It was just kind of an inadvertent type of play where he didn't feel the pressure because he didn't see it.
He's out of this package on a 3rd down and long. Good protection for Stanton. Fires it short. And Detroit will punt it away.
And that's one of those throws as a quarterback. People say, wow, he really underthrew that. You get in your delivery, you see where you want to go with the ball, and all of a sudden, at the very last moment, you see the corner starting to slide off. I think it was Fred Bennett was sliding off from his corner spot, and you just kind of short arm it, because if you throw it where you think you want to, it's going to be intercepted.
Jordan Shipley is waiting for Ryan Donahue's punt. Donahue trying to battle Nick Harris. The punter spot on this club. Spiraling kick. Shipley from the 19. They'll give it a shot and be tripped up at the 23-yard line. Good downfield tackle made. And the Lions defense can pin their ears back when we come back. Busy downtown Detroit on this Friday night. Kid Rock is playing right next door, and a lot of folks, a lot of foot traffic around the Motor City. So you've got Kid Rock right next door. You got the Lions here at Ford Field. And not too far from here, the Detroit party continues at Shane Park. That's where Bachman Turner Overdrive is playing.
Now you're talking.
Now you're taking care of business. First down run for the Bengals. Cincinnati moving Jay Finley into the tailback spot. Second and 7 for Gradkowski in Cincinnati. Finley again. Broke a tackle. Stays in bounds and gets a first down. Good run.
Yeah, and Keontae Dawson that time, the left end. He's going to take an inside route, which allows his play number 75 on the edge. And he gets buried inside, and this allows Jay Finley to get to the edge, bounce it outside, and make a nice gain. Also a nice job by the right offensive tackle, Dennis Rowland, for the Bengals, sealing Dawson inside.
Fourth-year pro out of Georgia is Rowland. Finley again stutter steps his way past the 35. Cincinnati's done a decent job running the football today.
And especially early with Cedric Benson in that first drive. They were able to, you know, 3 or 4 nice runs of probably 8+ yards. Until the Lions got a little bit frosty in the mouth. Got a little upset, and I'll start with Ndamukong Suh with the penalty. But sometimes, you know, you hate a play like that, but sometimes in the end it can also help you, Shep. It can get everyone fired up a little bit, and it seemed to really energize this whole game.
Shot of Marvin Lewis in his 9th year. That's a record for the franchise.
You see Gradkowski?
Yeah,
he's going to Hollywood shortly.
Give him a trophy. He was really young. He admits that he was in the wrong there.
I think Gradkowski played soccer when he was young.
Offside, defense, number 79, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Watch Willie Young come from the right, stops. Oh!
He leaned into him. That's awful. Draw the red card, for crying out loud. Willie Young is funny, though. I asked him early in the week. I said, tell me about your defensive playbook. He says, I tell you what, it could be 3 pages. Hit the ball. That's what we're after, man. Really fluent in the system now, though. He feels comfortable with it. There's a holding call for sure.
It's going to be I think it's Kaufman.
Yeah,
Chase Kaufman, the tight end. He had the WWF takedown. Was that on Willie Young coming in off the edge?
I think it was,
79?
yeah.
Holding, offense, number 80, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Willie Young.
We're going to look right here. Chase Kaufman is going to be right here. Okay, let it go. He's going to be the tight end. Young beats him inside. He just goes for a full Nelson and takes him down to the turf. So nice job. Nice quicks by Willie Young. Get an inside rush. Kaufman a little slow off the snap. Allows the inside penetration.
He's become a film hog. I mean, he's really watching a lot of film and actually used former Lion Julian Peterson as a go-between to make a connection to DeMarcus Ware, and he worked off season with some of the workouts that DeMarcus Ware has put together. Finley up the gut, and he's wrapped up at the 35-yard line by Keontae Dawson.
A lot of times people, they get into a preseason game, it gets in the second half, and all your starters are out, a lot of your backups aren't even playing. They're like, why do I watch? And I'm telling you this. This is where you're going to find the diamond in the rough. This is where someone's going to have a game that's going to jump out at you, put themselves on the radar and on this roster. So I think it's really interesting to keep watching to see who the rising stars are and who's going to add depth to this team.
3rd down and 10. Gradkowski out of the gun. Steps up into the pocket nicely. Slingshots a completion to Shipley for a first down. Tough not to like Jordan Shipley in the slot.
Yeah, he's just going to run a little deep turn in at about 12 yards. He can drive down the field, slide back inside to sit in that zone. Good feel. He didn't panic. A lot of guys don't have the patience to stay there. They want to keep moving. He was able to just sit down and give Gradkowski his throwing area.
Shipley, Colt McCoy's favorite receiver at Texas. Rob Calloway did a nice job breaking through and wrapping up the ball carrier.
A young man out of Saginaw Valley State, a 2nd-year player. Good penetration from the right defensive tackle. He's able to split the guard center gap. We're going to look here. He's going to come right inside. Good quickness for the big man. 6'5", well over 300 pounds. Not the best jumper in the world. He had a chance to do some fundraising basketball for me this past winter. Not great ups, not quite like Cliff Averill, I'll say that.
All right, as long as he wrapped up the ball carrier. 2nd down and 14. Gradkowski sets up the screen. Finley to midfield and into Lions territory.
I think preseason games, coaches have finally had it sink in a little bit that it's a great evaluation tool. So you see a lot of different plays. You're going to see the screens. You're going to see the draws. You're going to see a little bit of the outside run, down the field pass. It's not as predictable. I swear when I played, it was run on 1st and 2nd, throw on 3rd, and it seemed like they dragged on forever and ever. Now, you never know what you're going to get because coaches are trying to set up the situation for evaluation.
Under 8 minutes to go in the 3rd. Gradkowski and his Bengals down 24-3. He connects with Shipley again. He gets enough for the 1st down. 52 catches, the most by a rookie receiver in the AFC last year. Jordan Shipley and his teammate Jermaine Gresham, the tight end, both had 52 grabs.
Well, it makes you think your receiving core has a bright future if you're the Bengals, but now you just have to find a quarterback to match up with them, and I think they're hoping that Andy Dalton is the answer. Although Bruce Gradkowski looked pretty sharp here in the 2nd half. Granted, being against 2s and 3s.
1st and 10. Brian Leonard. Carpenter stood him up at the 35-yard line, and Brandon McDonald helped him out. Bobby Carpenter doing a pretty good job reviving his career. We talked about him being a 1st-round pick, number 18 overall, 2006 for Dallas. Played 5 games in Miami after 4 years in Texas. Signed as a free agent for the Lions last year, and the former Buckeye had 30 wrap-ups last season and has really won over the confidence of the staff. Gradkowski, pressure comes, and it's deflected incomplete.
Well, Gradkowski's going to feel a little bit of pressure, but not too bad. He has time to set up. But the pocket collapses a little bit, and he actually throws it off one of his own offensive linemen. I think it was Quinn Pitcock who was getting the push on the lineman to deflect the ball.
So 3rd down and 7. Three wide receiver for Gradkowski. Pressure comes, he delivers, it's caught, but well shy of the 1st down. Good coverage by McDonald. Shipley hauled it in, but it'll bring up a 4th down for Cincy.
Just a little hitch route by Jordan Shipley. This time McDonald does a nice job of squatting a little bit, not playing off, and closes on the ball and limits the gain to about 2 or 3 yards, setting up a 4th and short. Good closing speed by number 33.
Also give Marvin Lewis a chance to see his 4th down offense work.
Watch the hard count.
4th and 3. Here they come. Gradkowski dumped it underneath, and they turn it over on downs. Oh, the pressure, not only from the 1st unit, but the 2nd unit as well. Ashley Palmer celebrates. So do the Lions. Good. The Bengals had 12 plays, chewed up almost 7 minutes, but got nothing out of it. Lewis, by the way, his first preseason win of his head coaching career came against Detroit back in 2003. And this year, as he enters his 9th season, he passes Paul Brown and Sam Wyche as the franchise leader in tenured head coaching in Cincinnati. Stanton throws, and it is incomplete, intended for Maurice Stovall.
Well, every pass route is kind of a one-on-one battle. You're going to see Maurice Stovall against Morgan Trent here, and Trent's going to win this. He never is able to get separated, tries to push off. Great job being physical by the smaller defensive back, Morgan Trent, former Michigan Wolverine.
Against a Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Maurice Stovall. Tim Toon is into the ball game. He's the slot receiver on the right for Drew Stanton. On the ground, Mike Bell. Double teamed and thrown down. Bell undrafted out of Arizona, even though he's the 3rd all-time leading rusher in Wildcat history.
You know, Matt, we talk about the evaluating process, and this is what's tough for coaches sometimes because you end up comparing apples and oranges. Now, Mike Bell's getting the handoff, and there's 2 white shirts right in his face, so you really don't get an opportunity to see what he possibly can do with the football. I don't care who you are, you're toast in that situation.
6 feet, 225. Said he's ready and willing to do anything. Block, catch, play special teams. He was really excited to get the call while he was in Colorado. Stanton throws across the middle. It's caught at the 50-yard line. Called in there by number 46, the backup tight end, Richard Dixon.
I'll never forget Richard Dixon's name because when you go to camp and you're learning, and I kept thinking he was the former president. But nice job of getting width. You know what? That's a really good look from the end zone. He widened his route a little bit to give the quarterback a better throwing lane inside before the safety could come over. So really well executed by the former LSU Tiger.
Bell again lowers the shoulder, shows his tough running ability, but gets nowhere. Rico Murray in on the tackle, the Cincinnati native out of his 2nd year out of Kent State. Good look at Murray right there, 5'11", 196, trying to make this club as a special teamer and a backup corner. Second down and 10 look for Drew Stanton and the Lions offense. Good play action. Has time, throws, and it's incomplete. Right there in the breadbasket, but Joe John Finley out of Oklahoma couldn't haul it in.
Well, this is the waggle play. You're going to run the 1 tight end on a corner, then you bring him to the weak side. You drag the backside tight end. He comes slow across the middle. And you know, Joe John, any hope in making this roster has got to make that play because that's another well-thrown ball by Drew Stanton. I mean, you got to really admire it. Now, granted, Drew's thrown against backup corners and safeties and so forth, but he also has backup linemen blocking for him and backup receivers and running backs in his passing scheme. So he's putting the ball where they can make the play.
Making the right reads, that's for sure. 3rd down for him. He'll throw again, and this one's incomplete. Intended for Tim Toon. And Stanton upset at himself because Toon had his man beat.
I think I put the Jonas on him that time.
Yeah, he did.
I was telling how well he's throwing the ball. That one gets away a little bit, and Drew's mad only at himself on that one. Tim Toon was coming a little bit clear down the hash mark. That ball just seemed to sail on Drew. Nice protection in the pocket, no one close, and he knows. That one falls on number 5.
Ryan Donahue into punt. Spiraling kick. This is going to go into the end zone. Pretty looking punt, but not the greatest net yardage punt for his personal statistic. Up with the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers to give you the ultimate fan experience. Be on the field just before kickoff as part of the fan tunnel during its select home games throughout the regular season. It's fun, it's exciting, and it allows you to be up close and personal with your favorite players and coaches. Stay tuned to future preseason games for details on how to enter. Prince Miller in at one of the cornerback spots, the 2nd-year pro out of Georgia, an undrafted free agent, signed off the Baltimore practice squad in December of 2010 and hoping to make an impression here. Paul Pratt is also out there. He's at the left cornerback spot. Gradkowski picks on him and fires a complete toss for a 1st down.
Looks like Chad Ochocinco there. I don't think it is.
I don't know if Cincinnati wishes that or not, but it is John Staniford. John Staniford used to play here in Detroit back in 2009. Actually started 4 games of the 9 that he played.
One of the truly really nice people
really
that I've had the opportunity to meet over the years. Really a class act, and was doing a little UFL. And former coach Jay Gruden, his head coach in the UFL, got the OC job, and he followed him.
That pass broken up nicely. Lions backers doing a good job. That's Doug Hogue, their 5th round choice. Hogue out of Syracuse.
Oh, the right side linebacker, just a little man route, good job in coverage. They have high hopes for him. You know, right now it's It's going to be a tough go for any young player to get onto the field with the linebackers they brought in here and this defense being pretty much set in stone. What he needs to do right now, Matt, is keep playing, keep learning, get on special teams if he gets on the roster. If not, he may become a practice squad kid. But just learn from some of the guys. You bring in a Stephen Tulloch, and a Justin Durant, and you have a DeAndre Levy. Those are the guys that can make you a better player.
Well, he's one of only 2 Lions rookies who's actually healthy. I mean, you got Mikel LeSure, who's out for the rest of the year with a blown Achilles. Titus Young couldn't get it, so far. He was injured in the first practice.
You got Johnny Culbreth.
Right, he's the other.
At the tackle.
Right. And, of course, Nick Fairley hasn't been able to participate much either because of the foot. 3rd down and 9. Gradkowski, pressure coming up the middle. Dumps it underneath. It's caught near the 45. But Cabrani Mixon was right there to make the tackle. Mixon right there also vying for a backup spot, a rookie out of Kent State.
Let's get a look at Willie Young. He's going to be the right defensive end. He's going to come right off the edge up here. Keep an eye on him. He's kind of slight, but he's able to squeeze the pocket down inside and force Gradkowski to step up. And then Robert Calloway comes into play. And Willie's been a little bit slight in build. He's put on a few pounds, as Matt was saying earlier. And Matt, I think that's what he needs. He just needs a little more bulk, a little more experience.
Lions will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20. Buck and a half to go in the 3rd. Preseason game number 1 nearly in the books. Minute and a half left to go in the 3rd. A week from tonight, the first road game for Jim Schwartz and the Lions in this exhibition campaign when they visit the Cleveland Browns to take on Cleveland at 7:30 right here on the Lions television network. So we hope you can be part of it. And it's home against New England on August 27th before we wrap things up September 1st. It's a Thursday night. Ralph Wilson Stadium in Buffalo against the Bills. Our pregame show, by the way, a week from tonight, 7 o'clock. Lions tailgate show with Don Shane and Tom Light. Mike Bell trying to make an impression. What happens, Rob? I mean, Mike Bell will get, with the 2s and some of the 3s. And then next week, maybe he and Jerome Harrison reverse.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely, Matt. You're correct. They'll switch situational type of repetition where he'll probably go in first next week and Jerome Harrison will come in later on. So you have to do that as a coach, or else you're comparing apples and oranges, as we said.
Picked up 4. Stanton wants to throw. Downfield. And it is incomplete. Intended for Nate Hughes. Good coverage by Morgan Trent.
I think Nate Hughes had a pretty good opportunity to make this catch. You're going to see him kind of change speed. He starts slowing, and he sees he's got to go a little bit. He slows down. But you're right, Morgan Trent did a pretty good job in there, getting the hand and stripping it. Played pretty well this game. Morgan Trent, it's the second or third really nice play he's made. He played quite a bit last year for the Bengals, so it's not like he's a rookie coming in.
Yeah, 8 games played, but had an injury. Stanton feels the pressure, shakes free, throws it across the green to Felton. What a catch! Oh, and he was tripped up at the 40-yard line.
How about Stanton? He looks like a tight end or a defensive end on this one. You talk about a big, strong quarterback, 235 pounds.
How about improv?
Yeah. The eyes in the back of your head. He gets flushed out to the right, knows where his back is, has the strength and the wherewithal to get the ball off, and then Jerome Felton, if he could just break this, the big man really would have been rolling downhill.
If it weren't for Robert Sands, the safety who made the touchdown-saving tackle. We have an injured Bengal on the play.
Victor Adeyanju.
Is that who it is?
Yeah, I think that's Victor down on the field here. And I thought Stanton might be the one we'd see lying down after that last play. He really, after he made it, he was kind of wrapped up and landed right on his back. I don't know if we're going to see Zach. I
think we're going to see Zach Robinson.
Robinson, the young man out of Oklahoma State.
Adeyanju, by the way, in his 6th year out of Indiana.
Well, it's pretty impressive. I've seen Victor get off on his own power, but looking in the stands here, Matt, how many people are still here? Now, this obviously in a preseason game, your crowd's going to be maybe half the size.
Sure.
But these are people I think really appreciate. They get an opportunity. Maybe they can't get tickets in the regular season games. So a lot of people give away the preseason, and these people really appreciate. They come, they stay, and they really enjoy the whole environment. You see a lot of young kids in here as well. And I'm not sure Drew's coming out because he got nicked a little bit. Hopefully not. I think it's just might be time where they want to get Zach Robinson some reps.
Drew Stanton's night is done. 7 for 15, 110 yards. Led his team to a field goal score. Now Zach Robinson gets a chance to showcase his wares a little bit. Robinson, 6'3", 218-pounder, second-year pro out of Oklahoma State.
He looks like a wideout physically compared to a tight end like Stanton. He just looks much slender in build. Look here at Drew, came in this year at 230 pounds. I think that's being kind.
Now that'll do it through 3 quarters. We start the 4th at Ford Field with the Lions still in front 24-3 when we return. Right after this, you're watching Lions football on the Lions Television Network. Lions start the 4th with a 21-point lead. Looking for a more accurate first forecast? Well, check out Channel 7 First Alert Weather. Anytime, anywhere, any way you need it. First with warnings and alerts. You'll know exactly what's coming your way. First with a forecast so exact, you'll know how to plan your day. Zach Robinson takes over. 1st and 10. Ball at the 41-yard line. They give inside and some rough go of it to get to the 45-yard line. Tom Lydon with a guess. Tom?
Thanks very much, Matt. Kyle Vandenbosch, I know under any circumstance you don't like watching a game from the bench, but you guys did your job tonight. You got to be pretty happy with what you did.
Yeah, we started the game off. I mean, it was about as good as we could expect. Offense did a great job driving the field. Special teams made a big play. Defense, we had a couple of sacks, got some stops. And then, again, special teams at the end of the half in order to get everybody out there and kick that field goal as time's running out. We did a lot of things that show, we got some good work in. We were prepared for this game. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do and a lot of things to clean up, but I think it's a good start.
What do you say to your teammates about, some of the discipline that was lacking, a couple personal foul penalties?
This was our first opportunity to hit somebody other than each other, and I think guys are pretty excited about it. We need to calm down. We need to clean that stuff up.
All right, that's Kyle Vandenbosch. Matt, take it away.
All right, Tom, thanks. He must like Tom Lydon because he took his red contacts out during that interview. Vandenbosch, by the way, his father still owns a masonry construction company. Kyle used to work for him at the age of 12 during that company. Robinson's pass incomplete, but it might as well have been because pass interference against the Bengals. Marcus Harris, the intended receiver.
Marcus Harris doing a nice job of getting outside.
Pass interference, defense, number 38, spot foul, automatic, first down.
But a lot of credit has to be given to Zach Robinson, the quarterback, because if that ball is not that well thrown, there's not going to be a penalty on the play.
Right.
But Lindsey realized that he was in trouble in that situation, kind of put a hand on the shoulder and pulled Marcus Harris to the ground.
First and 10 for the Lions. Ian Johnson is the tailback. Robinson pumps, throws for the corner, and it is caught! Touchdown, Lions! What a grab by number 86, Nate Hughes.
Well, Nate Hughes had an opportunity to make a catch in the previous series and went down the sidelines. This time, Zach Robinson looks to the right a little bit, comes back to the left, and Nate Hughes is able to get separation in an ill-advised jump very late that time by the defensive back, David Pender. Just kind of jumps too early, rather. And the ball comes down, and Nate Hughes gets a touchdown.
Good stop and start move, huh?
Matt, Zach Robinson gets a touchdown pass. So Lions offensive prowess seems to continue here a little bit. They're having a lot of success.
Dave Rayner on for the extra point. Rayner was so effective last year when Jason Hansen went down. Converts, and he's given Hansen a battle in training camp. But Zach Robinson, a beautiful toss to Nate Hughes. Detroit piling it on. Now up 31-3. A lot of smiles at Ford Field, and for good reason. Their favorite football team leads Cincinnati 31-3. A lot of contributors, including Zach Robinson and Nate Hughes, who just connected at a 28-yard touchdown pass. That capped off a 6-play, 80-yard drive in just under 3 minutes. That has to feel good for Robinson, the kid out of Oklahoma State, who's trying to put some good film out there in case other teams need a third or second string quarterback. Rayner kicks it into the end zone, and it will be taken out. Good coverage downfield, but getting to the edge. Jay Finley balances up to the 30-yard line. Detroit kind of got hemmed in there, and then he broke it to the outside. He's shown some good bursts as a tailback and a return man tonight. 13:25 left to go in this one. Bengals in a big-time hole on the road at Ford Field. Lions comfortably in control. They lead the Bengals 31-3. We talk about battles that we like to keep an eye on, keep a pulse on. Cabrani Mixon is in that proverbial mix. The middle linebacker, the rookie out of Kent State, signed as a free agent. Loved Detroit because he saw it as an opportunity, knowing the linebacker situations. Talked to Green Bay and Oakland, but this is the place that he thought he'd have the best chance at making an impact as Cincinnati connects. And Mixon is a guy who originally committed to Michigan, redshirted there, turned down LSU and Ohio State, went to Kent State, an all-MAC selection, over 80 tackles a year ago, and really learning from Stephen Tulloch and at the knee of DeAndre Levy as well. New quarterback for Cincinnati, it's Jordan Palmer. Fourth year out of Texas El Paso, and you recognize the name. His older brother was a star quarterback for the Bengals for years and was trying to force his way into a trade from Cincinnati. His camp will tell you he was promised it a year ago. Cincinnati's camp will tell you, no, it wasn't. If you want to retire, go right ahead, but we're not trading you just because you demand it. So Carson Palmer retired. Andy Dalton started, Bruce Gradkowski followed, and now it's Jordan Palmer. 5-step drop, and he'll throw. And it's incomplete. Intended for Jordan Shipley.
And Paul Pratt on the coverage for the Lions. Shipley did a good job of pressing the route inside, and when Pratt came out of his cut, he actually fell, so Shipley was wide open, but Jordan Palmer just threw the ball a little bit too far in front of him. Once again, I think getting back to Stanton, that's why it was so impressive. He doesn't get the reps in the practice.
Right.
You know, even Sean Hill doesn't get the reps that a Matthew Stafford, and you know Jordan Palmer hasn't got the reps. So usually this is what you see, quarterbacks just a yard or two off on their throws.
On the ground. John Griffin, the 4-string running back, wrapped up there by Ricardo Silva. Another corner in camp. Give him 3. Brings up a 3rd down and 7.
I locate Shipley. He seems to be the security blanket for all these quarterbacks.
Can understand why. Palmer sets up across the middle, and it is knocked away. Both scathed the intended receiver, and the Lions secondary standing tall.
Down the middle, trying to get between the safeties on cover 2. But a really good break on the ball by Robinson, the safety, making a play. And I like the way he went for the ball too, Shep.
This one waffles into the end zone, and Detroit will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Let's take a look at the stats so far. It's brought to you by our friends at Comerica Bank. Detroit offensively very impressive. Defensively very good as well, but it's primarily the quarterbacks where we highlight. Matthew Stafford very efficient, Sean Hill just as much, and Drew Stanton threw for the most yards.
And he had probably 3 or 4 drops in there, but
yeah,
you know, you like the way Sean Hill ran the ball. for an old man, and yet Matthew Stafford was very impressive, and then Stan just kind of kept things rolling. And then Zach Robinson comes in and throws a touchdown pass as well.
I like what Stanton told Tom Lydon. He said, boy, that run into the end zone that kind of helicoptered him past the goal line was very graceful. Good relationship between the two. Really, all three quarterbacks.
I played 7 years in this. Like, I never had the opportunity to wear a baseball cap and not have the concern in a preseason game of playing. You know, for some guys, this is time to get better, and other guys, it's time to try to start a career. And that's why I think it's still interesting in these games to keep an eye on people, the receivers, because you bring so many receivers into camp. Those will be the first area when during the first cut in a couple weeks where they'll start whittling down. So you got to catch everything.
2nd down and 5. Aaron Brown broke a tackle, got the edge to the 42-yard line. Got those quicks.
Ooh, he has that speed. You can't coach that now. He really, when he cuts it back and he gets to the edge, he picks up a block along the way. He's going to take it inside, bounce it outside, and Demario Ballard, big number 87, was out there chicken fighting a little bit, but when Aaron Brown turns the corner, he turns the corner. Look at that burst.
Give him 17 and move the chains. Again, this time nowhere to go. He took a forearm to the chops too.
It says it's a lot easier running to the outside. I'm faster than everyone.
I like that edge.
All those big bodies in there. It's kind of ugly. I like on that toss sweep. Outside zone play.
Ian Johnson, play action there. Close to a first down. Finley on the receiving end there. So 3rd down and short now for the Lions.
Well, this is once again, they've had a lot of success with this waggle play. All the action, the outside zone stretch to the right, and you just leak the tight end out into, or actually the pressure stretch goes to the left. You roll to the right and hit the tight end late. So they've executed that well today.
Here's Ian Johnson. Up the belly for a first down. Good hard run by the former Boise State All-American. Ian Johnson, he wears 41. And actually, he's the first All-American and the first Boise State athlete to be named a major All-American. He played there for Boise State. Celebrated his 4-year anniversary on the day he had to report to camp. So his wife Christine called him and said, "Happy anniversary," and he thought, "Oh yeah, happy anniversary, honey."
Been there.
They're expecting their first child soon too, so good luck to them. Get Lions ready. Single game tickets for Detroit Lions regular season home games go on sale beginning Wednesday, August 24th at 10 a.m. Call 1-800-745-3000 or you can visit DetroitLions.com. 2nd down and 8 for the Lions. Johnson again. Found a little bit of an opening. Got to the 42-yard line. Tom Lydon, what do you got?
All right, Matt, talking about Ian Johnson, it's an interesting story from the offseason. I guess running backs coach Sam Gash said one of the ways that he became better at concentration is by learning how to juggle. I guess if you can keep your eyes on 3 balls, it's a lot easier to keep your eye on the 1 ball when you're coming out of the backfield. So I talked to Ian the other day about it. He says, yeah, it helped a lot. I asked him to do some juggling on camera. He said, oh, no way, man, I stink. I can't juggle. I said, well, what about all their practice? He goes, I never got any good, but I can see the balls well.
You can. I know you can juggle.
I can juggle, but notice there's no camera near me right now.
He actually said he was glad they signed Jerome Harrison and Mike Bell because it's all about competition. He wants the competition. Robinson squirts free and then is drilled at the 44-yard line. That'll force a punting situation for Ryan Donahue.
Well, Ryan Donahue, we talk about little battles, people trying to get a job, and this punter's shown that he has a big leg. the last time, as you said, Matt, he hit it into the end zone, so you lose 20 yards off your net. This is another opportunity for him to get that big hang time and drop it on the 10 or inside the 10.
And his attitude is similar to Ian Johnson's and other guys. He says, hey, you know what? This is a 32-team tryout right now for us. That's how you got to look at it, because nothing's guaranteed. Hanging punt. Shipley signals fair catch and makes it at the 19. 6:21 remaining. Lions comfortably in control on the Lions television network. Welcome back. Here's tonight's image of the game. It's brought to you by Biomagnetic Resonance and Sean Hill. Looks Biomagnetic right here. 7-yard sprint. Can I call it a sprint, partner?
Absolutely.
A salute to his late father. 7-yard touchdown run. Lions up 31-3. Jordan Palmer, good play action. Willie Young didn't buy it though. Dragged him down, and is it intercepted? It is.
Great job by Willie Young staying home.
Lions' second pick of the night. Ricardo Silva picked off Jordan Palmer's attempt, but this is all Willie Young.
He's going to have to send Willie Young a thank you note. Willie Young is the left defensive end. Let's get a look right here. He's going to stay home. Watch him. Rather, he's on this side. He's going to stay home, and then Palmer tries to roll out. He's there to make the play, and that's just an ill-advised pass. When you got a guy draping on you, and you're trying to throw the ball 20 yards down the field, that's just a young quarterback mistake. And Willie Young showed right there what they like about him. We talked earlier. He's learning, Matt. Last year he maybe bit down on that boot action. That time he stayed home.
Well, Willie Young grew up in Florida and is used to catching big fish. I mean, sharks. He's caught a mako before. He's caught bull sharks. In 2006, he caught a 40-pound mahi-mahi. He's ready to catch a lot of quarterbacks, whether it be from the front side or the back side, and put a lot of pressure on them, just like he did right there to Jordan Palmer. I asked him, by the way, after talking to him about his fishing, have you gone and fished the Great Lakes? He says, I haven't, not yet, but I plan on doing so. That means he thinks he's sticking around for a while. That's good news. Offset eye behind Zach Robinson on a 2nd down and 7. Ian Johnson, nothing doing.
Jason Shirley, big number 70, getting into the backfield. Good penetration of his defensive tackle position. You're going to see him come to the right. Ian Johnson, you're in jail right now. There's nowhere to go. Big number 70 took up half the screen.
He sure does. 345 pounds. Was an offensive lineman. They moved him to defensive line because they think he has that athletic ability.
Look at the size of that in mass. That's no hummingbird there. Wow. That is one big man.
Yes, it is. Arms are as big as my thighs.
Makes you feel good to be up here.
Under 5 minutes to go. A delay to Johnson. Has some room. Couldn't break the tackle, though. Wrapped up by Vincent Ray.
Dave Rayner's going to get an opportunity for a field goal attempt here. And you talked a little bit about Dave early on. Really did a nice job coming in for the injured Jason Hanson last year at a game-winning field against Tampa. Didn't he have like a 56-yarder as well? So, you know, I don't think he's going to supplant Jason Hanson, a healthy Jason Hanson. Obviously still going to be here this year. But I think Dave Rayner realizes, as you always say, it's a 32-team trial.
Sure.
And he, you know, he's got 5 years in the league, so someone looking to sign a quality veteran kicker, he'll be high on the list.
13 of 16 a year ago. And as Rob mentioned, a lot of them in pressure situations. So this one, no problem. A 44-yard boot and plenty of room to spare. Lions keep on packing it on. 34-3 now. Winding down. Lions have rolled all night long. It started with a Calvin Johnson touchdown catch, and the defense and the special teams, it's been contagious. 34-3. Detroit.
Yep. And all 4 quarterbacks have got into the action a little bit.
You like to see that, don't you?
A lot of times these preseason games, once the starter goes out, the offense just becomes stagnant. But this offense has been pretty good, especially in the passing game throughout the evening.
Rayner with the deep ball. Here's tonight's game summary brought to you by the Ford Motor Company. Very first drive, Matthew Stafford engineered, and he looked good doing it.
Well, you got 81 on your side. It's not hard to call plays, man. Get him the football. He is a man amongst boys, and Matthew Stafford once again finding Nate Burleson in the corner of the end zone. So 2 touchdown passes for Matthew Stafford in his limited amount of time. And then Sean Hill says, you can do it with your arm, but I can do it with my legs. The 10-year vet does a nice job leaping into the end zone for another score. And then Zach Robinson, the 4th-string quarterback of the Lions, is able to find Nate Hughes down the sideline, a little fade out. Nate gets away with a little bit of a push, but no harm, no foul. And the Lions have pounded on with a 34-3 lead.
Well, you saw the graphic, 2 for 3 in the red zone, and that's significant. Detroit last year in the red zone, 29 touchdowns and 45 trips. So they will need to improve upon those numbers this season. New quarterback in for Cincinnati, it's Dan Lefevre. Dan Lefevre used to have a monster, a scoreboard size poster of him right outside this stadium between here and Comerica Park as they were building him up for Central Michigan and a possible Heisman Trophy run. Claimed off waivers in 2010, a 6th-round draft choice of Chicago. The only player ever in NCAA Division I history with 12,000 yards passing and over 2,500 yards rushing in his collegiate career. Perfect example of a really, really good college player. Doesn't necessarily always translate at this level.
No, but for a college quarterback, he had all the weapons that you needed.
Did, yeah.
Good, strong legs, good, strong body, could throw the ball, could ad-lib, and could throw on the run. And a lot of quarterbacks, once they decide to go into that run mode, they don't keep their vision down the field. Dan Lefevre had a good knack of keeping his eyes focused down there.
Also had Antonio Brown, who now plays for Pittsburgh. That helps. He feels the pressure, dumps it underneath. 235 and counting. Jonathan Williams on the receiving end of that pass. 4th down though. Bengals getting a good look at their punt coverage unit tonight, partner.
I guess they are, and the punter's getting a little bit tired here throughout the evening. They've been out here a lot, especially here in the second half. Kevin Huber's going to get another whack at it.
This is returnable for Tim Toon. Back pedals to the 19. Breaks to the outside and then dragged down at the 24-yard line. Good coverage downfield by the Bengals. Tom Nelson made this team a couple years ago as a special teamer and a backup safety. Well on his way again. We'll be back with a wrap-up. All Lions on this Friday night and a lot of diehards still sticking around. 34-3. Detroit has never trailed in this contest. They scored on their opening drive. Special teams then forced a Cincinnati turnover. They scored yet again. Every quarterback has engineered a scoring drive, whether it be a touchdown or a field goal. Zach Robinson has a touchdown pass. The starters loving every minute of it. Detroit will just take a knee. Robinson. Take a couple more of those and get ready for some film work. Some homework, and try to better yourself this week as you prepare for the Cleveland.
Yeah, the players definitely, but the coaches even more so.
Really?
This is really where they earn their money. We talk about, the draft is really the first step when you bring these bodies in here in the free agency, but now evaluating what you compiled, bringing all these different guys in, all the battles we talk about, figuring out who played well, who didn't play as well, who needs to work on what, and coaches will be burning that midnight oil this weekend.
Robinson, another knee. Lions will play the Browns, by the way, right here on this Detroit Lions television network station. A week from tonight, 7 o'clock for the Lions tailgate. Don Shane, Tom Lydon, Rob Rubik, yours truly from Cleveland. Looking forward to that. Of course, Hall of Famer Charlie Sanders involved as well. Charlie's got a good grasp of what this team's all about. Prince Miller, one of those guys who feels pretty good about his play. He's a second-year pro out of Georgia, hoping to make this squad as a backup to Chris Houston or Eric Wright. Speaking of Chris Houston, he'll be visiting with our Tom Lydon here shortly. We invite you to stick around for that. Tom has already talked with Matthew Stafford and Kyle Vandenbach. I'll tell you what, you want to know somebody who's going to be looking at film? That's Marvin Lewis right there. His first ever win as a Bengal came in a preseason opener against Detroit in 03. It was 23-10. It wasn't even close tonight.
Well, it's one of those situations Marvin Lewis realizes that he's going to look at every type of series differently, Matt.
Tom Lyons with Chris Houston. Tom?
Okay, a lot of questions surrounding this team's ability to upgrade the secondary and upgrade the linebacking core. One way to address those questions, Chris Houston, is by intercepting the first pass you see in the preseason. How good does that feel?
It felt real good. You know, AJ Green, rookie. I knew they were going to try to get the ball to him, so you know, he came up to the line, and I saw his body language. I was like, oh, he's going to try to take off, so I just wanted to make a play on the ball.
Give me your take on what it's been like these 2 weeks, hitting each other. You finally got a chance to get on the field here in a game situation. You couldn't ask for a better result, 34-3.
It's just been a long process and get back in the game of things and practice. You know, you kind of sluggish a little bit, and you start picking up as days go on. And just to get back in the game and hit another opponent is very big because we kind of tired of hitting each other. So we ready to get after somebody else.
How much easier will this defensive line make life for cornerbacks and safeties?
Defensive line make life much easier for cornerback because they putting the pressure on the quarterback. And, you know, he throwing the ball up, we making plays on the ball. That's good for everybody. Like, it goes hand in hand. Defensive line play good, linebackers, and the secondary, it kind of falls in order. That's what make us a great defensive team.
Hey, Chris, thanks very much for the time. Nice job tonight. We'll see you throughout the week, and, of course, next Friday in Cleveland. Maybe you do it again.
Yes, sir.
All right, Matt, take it away.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. You know, when Chris Houston came out of Arkansas, Gunther Cunningham was with the Chiefs at the time, wanted Kansas City to draft him in the first round. Instead, they took Dwayne Bowe, who led the NFL in receptions a year ago. Now, Gunther Cunningham is glad to have Chris Houston not only as a corner, but this year, but for next year too, because he signed a 2-year contract before coming to camp. 34-3, Lions firmly in control. We'll wrap it up from Ford Field when we return.